Hello everyone, so today we're pretty much going over the entire Evoker change that is coming to Preservation, Augmentation, and Devastation, as well as just the class in general. Like other videos, we're pretty much going to just be reading off everything that's listed here and the pre-patch changes. So pretty much, as I said, everything in the class tree itself, including all the specs, are being changed, their pathing, etc. Certain stuff's being added, certain stuff's being removed. Evokers are now going to start at level 10, and they will have the Evoker per realm changed, like the restriction of it. So now that you won't have one Evoker per realm, you can have as many as you want. I personally found this really awesome. I've had many Evokers already. Evokers now unlock the talent pane immediately after choosing a spec in Forbidden Reach, and any of them, they no longer learn temporary talents as they complete the Forbidden Reach experience. So you'll pretty much learn everything right away. So having to go and do every single fire breath thing, that'll still be there, but you'll pretty much have it right off the bat. Alright, solo-based spells that were previously learned at 58 are now learned at level 10, so this can be your base spells like Disintegrate, Fire Breath, etc. Mass Return is now learned at level 38, was level 39. Fury of the Aspects, which is the Evoker class Lust, or Heroism, is now learned at 58. Overall has been redesigned, now grants 30 seconds of cooldown reduction, was cooldown reduction per enraged spell. This was pretty much the passive talent for our Oppressing Roar. Spatial Paradox has been moved to the class tree. It was a augmentation spell that essentially allowed us to cast while moving and have higher range. It was a thing that we pretty much were only able to give the healers, and now I believe we're actually able to still give it to healers, but we, of course, like, if you wanted to use it on Devastation, we now can. Life Cinders now upgrades Renewing Blaze to allow one friendly target. Ew, pretty much like that, which I personally actually love this. Uh, Pretty much the normal healing changes. The cone for Pressing Roar has been increased. Landslide now roots for 15 seconds instead of 30. I don't really like this change, but it doesn't really matter to begin with, because I think Landslide is actually really weak. It always has been. Alright, so since I made Devastation, we're going to start Devastation first. So the new talent, Scorching Embers, enemies take 20% increased damage from your red spells while affected by Fire Breath. Snapfire has been slightly redesigned. Now grants a free cast to Firestorm that does not trigger trigger the cooldown. It now triggers from Pyre. Feed the Flames has been redesigned. Now causes enemies to take 20% more damage from Pyre and disintegrate if they are in your Firestorm. Feed the Flames once again triggers a Firestorm after casting 9 Pyres. Imminent Destruction now also increases the damage of your Disintegrate and Pyre for by 10% for 12 seconds after you land, in addition to its current effect. Fire Breath threat and Pyre threat have been reduced by 50% and 30%. You can see right here. Aminosity can no longer extend Dragon Rage beyond 16 seconds. I personally do not like this change at all, but I can also see in the eyes of the balance team that pretty much most of our damage, or a good chunk of our damage in our playstyle, was only packed into Dragon Rage, and this change is essentially meant to not have us rely off of only doing damage while Dragon Raging. So, like, pretty much outside of it, piloting uh, essentially your filler time, it should be more fluid now, including with the Season 1 tier set bonuses that we're getting. But overall, I really don't like this change. This pretty much removes most of the skill expression for Devastation. Anyways, Firestorm Radius has been increased by 10 yards. It was originally, or it increased to 10 yards, not by 10 yards. That would be a little broken. Was 8, and its stick rate now increases with haste. We don't really ever take Firestorm, so this is not really going to do much. Imminent Destruction now increases Disintegrate and Pyre damage by 10%, and now lasts 12 seconds, was 10 seconds. Cone Digression now increases Azure Strike and Living Flame damage by 10% per point, was 5. So this was essentially one of the single target things that we chose. I forget exactly what it's called off the top of my head, but it's left of the AoE one that allows our... I think it's called Eternity Spin. Yeah, Eternity Spin. So it was something that allowed us to have, Shattering Star, Eternity Surge to hit twice as many targets. So that is just increased by 5% up to 10% now. This one right here. Alright. Falling talents have been removed. Ever-burning flame and raging inferno. I guess that's nice and all. Alright, let's do augmentation. So new talent, arcane reach, the range of your helpful magics. It should be magic spells, like helpful magic spells. Increased by 5 yards, I guess that's nice. New passive sense power, when enabled, allies with their major cooldowns active will be highlighted in the game field and will display a buff icon on the party and raid frames. Learn automatically and can be toggled on and off. Honestly, a really good change. I pretty much know that I'd say most, if not all, augmentations have used Omni CDs. So I guess this should be like one less thing that we have to really worry about. We don't really have to use Omni CDs for their major class cooldowns. New talent, Rumbling Earth. A people causes a aftershock in its location, dealing 50% of its damage 2 additional times. Honestly, I think this is by far one of my all-time favorite changes for AUG, even though I won't really play AUG. But, you know, it's nice and all. Alright, new talent. Molten Ember's Fire Breath causes enemies to take 20% more damage from your black spells. New talent, Imminent Destruction. This is pretty much just like going over the stuff that we said before. Breath of Beyond slash Deep Breath, pretty much just all of our breath abilities, reduces the essence cost of eruption by 1, increases damage dealt by 10% for 12 seconds after you land. Personally love this in general. Alright, Presence has been updated. When cast without a friendly target, the smart targeting will now prefer damage role players who have their major cooldowns active. I don't think this was gonna do much, but because I know that most people kind of just click it without having targeted instead of like manually targeting on like voodoo frames, for example. But that's pretty nice. The spatial paradox has been moved to the class tree, as we said it before, which is a pretty good change, but the 1 minute increase is a little eh. Motive possibility, now grant a random augment evoker buff, was reduced by cooldowns of major abilities by 10 seconds. So it's pretty much just redesigned, so to speak. In addition, the motes will spawn closer to the caster, and they will slowly float towards that nearest ally. I personally actually love this change a lot. As I said, I still don't play AUG and probably never will. Beforehand, these would obviously spawn pretty randomly, and a lot of the time they were out of the way if you were trying to go and grab them. In a raid scenario, I think this would actually be really good, since most people will kind of stand in one place most of the time. Like any kind of like centralized location, so you can pretty much be right there and they will spawn and float towards your DPS. This still has the issue of if you only want certain DPS to pick them up, they still have to hover around you, which obviously is not a big deal, but if it floats to another ally, that's just more movement that they have to do. Overload now guarantees motes a possibility to spawn from the eruption it casts. Obviously, that's the quality of life. Echoing Strike now and also increases Azure Strike by 15%. Reactive Hide increases damage at blistering scales by 15% per stack plus 10. I actually enjoy this. I really loved having blistering scales do a lot of damage from your tank. Seismic Slam is now a 1-point talent. The stun duration remains 4 seconds. And Geomancy has been removed. Overall, pretty nice changes. I think most of them are pretty much just quality of life. And now for Preservation. New talent, Life Spark. Reversion Healing has a chance to grant you an instant cast to Living Flame and increase damage slash healing by 50%. Really, really good change. I really love using Reversion on Preservation along with like Echo and stuff. I've never really been a huge fan of like the Emerald Blossom build. I guess you could say there was only like 1 or 2 builds at most. Titan's Gift, Essence Burst now grants... Or Essence Burst increases the effectiveness of your next Essence ability by 25%. We talked about this before in the Chrono Warden tree. But overall, this is a really, really good change. I'm sure pretty much all of them will actually take it. Maybe. I guess that actually would work on your Echoes as well. Yeah, that would be really good, yeah. Alright. Temporal Compression reduces the cast time of Empower spells by 10% per stack, plus 5%. Nice quality of life change. Time of Need now triggers at 30% health, plus 20%. Passive now displays in Spellbook, and the cooldown can now be tracked on the passive. Pretty nice. Dream Flight healing increased by 100% outside of raid. I guess this is good since I personally saw that you only really took or really cared about using Dream Breath inside a raid. Because I know, as I said, I'm not really a preservation player all that much. I don't really know the whole grand scheme of it. But I personally didn't like taking Dream Breath inside M+, for example. So I guess this is another way of us trying to have them in, a key setting or whatever. Emerald Blossom mana cast or cost reduced by 15%. Overall nice. Flow State can now trigger from Empower spells cast from Stasis. Pretty nice. Threads of Fate can no longer trigger from Empower spells from Stasis. Or cast from Stasis. That's the same thing with that. Obviously nice. Reversion Soul Dip has been updated to include a Golden Hours effect. I guess that's nice, so it just shows injured allies, etc., instantly healing them. Yep, that's a good quality of life change. Alright, Dragonflight Season 4's class set bonus have been updated for Dragonflight Season 2 class bonuses. It's pretty much just showing everything as normal, so if you want to go over that, you can see. And then the following talents are now 1-point nodes, so Life Giver's Flame and Grace Period. Overall nice. Alright, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. As I said it before, I'm still trying to get better at this. So if you have any suggestions as to like how I should do these videos in the future, obviously leave them down in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed.